In this video, we are going to learn about how to use Salesforce Code Builder beta feature along with GitHub. So we had a previous video and then we did see how to set up Code Builder environment and then create a brand new project, isn't it? And also we talked about how Salesforce Code Builder beta version will help you to develop your code from anywhere. Literally, all you need is a stable internet connection and then a web browser. That's all it is needed, for you to get started with your development. So typically when you want to develop a Lightning Web component or when if your project is following a source driven development, you will you will require a set of tools. You will need VS Code, Microsoft VS Code editor. You will need uh, uh, extension, Salesforce Code extension. You need Salesforce CLI, etc. For you to get started with your development, right? So this Code Builder beta version is going to change the way how we have been doing coding. So that's what we're going to see it again. So the previous video link is also given in the description. You can also watch how to use Code Builder and then create a new project, brand new project. But now we're not going to, we're going to do the same, but we are going to use an existing code base, from GitHub, get that code base downloaded and then, get started with our development. So that's what we're going to do it. So let me just show you the source control, the GitHub source control and the code base that I'm going to download from GitHub, and then we can move forward. Yeah. So this is my repository, my repository. This is my private repository. This is where I have the code base. So it has multiple components. It has few Lightning Web components. It has object metadata types, etc., etc. So this is what I'm going to download in my environment and set it up. So two things. One is we are also going to use two different orgs. So I'm going to use this code builder org where I would like to, install the code builder or set up the code builder and the environment. And then whatever the development that I'm going to do against, so that will be, on this org, creative unicorn. So you will just see how we can do, both and, and then continue with our development. So let me just go back here. Yeah. The first thing is we need to have this code builder app exchange product installed. So I'm in this org curious raccoon, right? Let me just log into curious raccoon first. All right. So I'm in this code builder org called curious raccoon. So this is the org which I'm going to use to install the code builder so that I can set up an environment and then connect to this environment, creative unicorn, and get my development started. So that's the idea. So how did I get this code builder installed? Very simple. All you have to do is, right, you have to just go and then find this product from App Exchange. So in App Exchange, you can just search for code builder. It is in beta version now. So search for code builder. You will see a product from Salesforce. You can just see it right here. So let it load. So you can just get this product and then install, get this product to, get this package to install right on your org. So when you click on get it now, you'll be redirected to login.salesforce.com where you can just punch in the username and password of the org where you wanted this code builder, right? Code builder package to get installed. So since it is already installed in my org, I don't have to do that. But in your case, if you're doing it for the very first time, just ensure that click on get it now and then get this package installed, right? So once this is done, the next step is we have to connect to the org. We have to create an environment and connect to the development org. So we'll just click on get started, and you have two options, new project and import from GitHub. In our case, I already have the code in GitHub. This is what I wanted to download into that environment that is about to set up. So this is having a piece of code for us to get started. So let me just click on this import from GitHub. So right here it is asking for GitHub URL. Let me go to my GitHub repository, and if I go to code and then I do have the GitHub URL, let me copy that. Let me go back here. Let me just put it right here. So it is trying to authenticate. In my case, this repository is a private repository. So certainly I need to authorize. So in our typical um, projects, right? Salesforce projects, we don't keep our source base, right, open or public, right? So it will certainly be private, and that's demonstrate that, right? I just made it, private, so that you will have an additional step to authorize, with GitHub. If it is a public repository, you will not go through this step. You can just simply punch in the URL and then click on next and then move forward, right? So since this is a private repository, I have to authorize myself, and then connect to the GitHub to get this code downloaded. Let's click on authorized with web GitHub. So it's trying to authorize. It will take you to the login page of GitHub, and then you can just punch in your password to get yourself authorized. In my case, it is reusing my previous session, so that I didn't get that login page. But in your case, if you are doing for the very first time, you will be taken again to the GitHub login page, and then you just have to punch in your password, GitHub password. That's all it is. So once that is done, you will just get a tick mark to say that you are connected to this GitHub, or you can able to access, or Salesforce can able to access code from this GitHub repository. Now let's click on next, and this is where this is where I can connect to an org against which I want to do the development. So we decided to develop against this org, right? Creative unicorn. So let's go here. Let's go ahead and then click on this connect development org. I'll be taken to login.salesforce.com, and this is the username, reader.vm at creative unicorn. I do have this right here. You click, yeah, you can just log in. Of course, I just wanted to enable access. So now two things, right? So now we know that we can have code builder in one environment, and then I can have another environment, right, against which I can do the development. So it is not necessarily that both the environments need to be same or both the orgs need to be same. Okay. So that's the key point too, or a key takeaway from here. So now, of course, I just got this org connected. Perfect. My step two is completed. Let me give a friendly name to call this development org. I'm just going to say it is PRM dev org. Let's say create. Now it is time, Salesforce is trying to set up an environment for me. So what Salesforce will do is, right, when it creates an environment, and it will ensure that all the required softwares for Lightning Web Component development, or for source-driven development, right, like your Microsoft VS Code, Salesforce Code extension, VS Code extension, Salesforce CLI, Node, Java, whatever is needed for you to kickstart with your development, everything will be available in this environment that is about to get created. And when the environment is created, you will get this SFDX project, this entire code base, directly copied from GitHub into this environment, so that you can start from coding, right away. Let's wait for this environment to get created. Then I'll just walk you through, the code that has been downloaded from GitHub and what we can do as a next step. Yeah, typically it takes a minute or two for creating this environment. Once this is done, you will get a launch button. So let's click on launch. While this is launching, right, since this is in beta, you have maximum 20 hours to use this environment that has been created for you. Either 20 hours, 20 hours of usage, or 30 days from the date you created this environment. Whichever comes earlier, comes earlier, right? The environment gets purged. Yeah. So if I use this environment continuously, or if I use this environment for 20 hours, right, in 5 days, then on the sixth day I won't see this environment. This environment will not be usable for me. Or if I don't use this at all, I keep it as is for 30 days. So then very next day, you will not see this environment right available for you. So it's in beta, so that's all these limitations and constraints are right now, in this beta version. We will see what new enhancements that Salesforce is going to open up when this version, right, it is made, when this version is made publicly available. So yeah, now the code builder or the environment is starting up. Let's wait for the environment to get started. Perfect. As you can see, a new environment has been set up for us. It says endive-uda. So this is the exact code that got downloaded from the GitHub. So you can just see these are the scripts that I have scripts available, and you can find components. For example, I do have when I just open Lightning Web Comp, I do see components, I do see objects. So the entire metadata, it got downloaded from the GitHub, right? So now, uh, what we can do is, right, we can deploy these components, into the development org, which is this, right? Because this is the development org that we connected, isn't it? So we'll just see that how we can deploy these components in the next video. For now, our focus, is to set up the environment, isn't it? So that we have just accomplished. So what did we do? We just, get this code builder beta version, a package installed from App Exchange, right? Once that is done, we were able to download the code from GitHub. Number two. Number three, when you download, you can just set up the environment against which you wanted to do the development. So that also we did while we import the project from GitHub, right? And as you can see, when I click on launch, I see the code downloaded from GitHub for me to get started with the coding. All right. So in the next video, we will just see how to deploy the code from here, to the development org, and then get started with building more components, deployment, all such things.